All right, it's 7 o'clock. Let's get started. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Let's do roll call. Brian, why don't you start on your side?
Brian Sinden, Ward 2.
Nikki Ryan, Ward 1.
Deborah McIsaac, Mayor.
Travis Shores, Ward 1.
Brendan Tiedemann, Ward 2.
John Hughes,
The
appointed, not elected.
all present and accounted for. Let's go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's go ahead and approve the minutes. So we have the August 9th of 22 regular monthly meeting. Did anybody have any questions on the minutes?
One I noticed was on section 7, item G, the discretionary formula resolution. It words it that it's taxation 75% of the assessed value for the 6th and 7th year. It should be the 5th and 6th, not the 6th and 7th, based on the on the discretionary formula sheet from last, just a typo. That's all it was.
So do you want to make a motion to amend that?
Make a motion to amend that to read the 5th and 6th. Otherwise, all look good.
So we have a motion on the table to amend from 5th to 6th, from the 6th to 7th. Do you have a second?
I'll second that.
And then Nikki Flynn has a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes to amend. So do we have any other changes that we need to make?
I did not see it.
Anybody else? I will need a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the amended minutes.
Travis is going to make a motion to approve the amended.
Second.
And then Ryan Sinding is going to do the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Let's go on to September 7th special meeting. That was budget planning. There's a lot of stuff to look there.
Already read those.
There are any amendments that we need to make?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Ryan Sindick is going to make a motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Brendan Tiedemann got the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Then the motion passes. Okay. Then we have claims payable. Do we have any adjustments or questions on the claims payable? Is that our pink piece of paper to keep track of our payouts?
And I did a new format this time, itemizing every credit card charge so that that was clear too for everybody. You know, instead of just having your grand total for credit card purchases.
I did.
Perfect.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
$340 for porta potties at River Park.
Yes.
I'm assuming there's a bill for that, but I'm wondering, is our bathrooms no longer functioning out there that with porta potties, or Why were we having porta potties like that?
It's my understanding that we do the porta potties because they're easier to maintain, and there was a lot of, there have been some issues during the weekends that the bathrooms are vandalized. And so that was an easier way to keep services still being offered, but curtailing temptation to do things otherwise. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Yeah. Good question, though. Any other questions? I like this format, by the way. It's easy to read.
Yeah, it's a lot easier.
Do you need more time? Do we have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve claims.
Travis is the first.
Second.
Nikki Owen is going to be the second. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Then the motion passes. Perfect. Let's go ahead and go into public time. Is that okay? Or do you want to go now?
Yeah, but I mean, that'll be fine.
I figured we'd do public time and then we'd take.
Okay.
Okay, so public time. Yes, sir.
Brian Hefty. So last month when I was here, we said our engineers are gonna get together with your engineers, and the engineers have not apparently gotten together. We've submitted everything. We've done, I believe, most everything you've asked for and submitted all these things, and we don't have the feedback we need. And so I'm here to ask, can you please just allow a few people some building permits? It's not gonna hurt the city at all to have building permits. It's gonna only help the city because you're gonna collect permits. You're going to collect taxes sooner. The school's gonna collect tax money sooner. We're working with you. We want to do everything we can to move forward on this whole thing and work together with you as much as possible and get things happen. And I hope you can see we've invested a crazy amount of time and energy and money into the developments. So the erosion problem's gone. We've done a lot of the things on the checklist of the stuff that I'm in control of, but I'm not in control of when ISG will meet with our engineer, for example.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm here to ask. Please.
So, I don't know if without having a P and Z recommendation, it makes this difficult for make a decision on anything, but I will get back to you because I figured that you would probably address that. And I was going through the memo. I imagine that you get copies of the memo that goes back and forth between the engineers.
I think so. I've
Okay.
gotten some things. I can't everything.
So I have, it's 5 pages long of the back and forth between the two of us, and I was just doing a cursory overview. And so if you go through we talked about this at the last meeting. And if you go through Phillips Crossing, there was 5 immediate actions. And at the end of that exchange between your engineers and our engineers, we were still looking for an item 1 to either redraw or reuse or provide an alternative thing. I do believe we have those plans in hand, so I think
Yep.
that's right. Number 2, we're still looking for provide a design or calculation and easement. And I don't believe that we have received that to date. Let's see here. I'm gonna get my pages straight. Forgive me. And again, I didn't get through all of this before the meeting, but I just wanted to make sure that we were on the same page. So if we have Phillips Crossing number 1. So revise lots as necessary, provide an alternative solution. I do believe that that is in hand on our end. Number 2. We're still sitting on, the planning commission deems it necessary for proper drainage within the subdivision. An easement is necessary to ensure the drainage way stay clears of obstructions, will be required to convey the 100-year storm event, provide a design calculation and easement width as necessary. So we're waiting on number 2. On number 3.
Are we waiting on that?
I think to help, and maybe this moves things forward, which I think it does. I had a very good conversation with your attorney earlier this week. And in some respects, we have engineers speaking past each other. We were hoping to get engineers in one room so that doesn't happen. We do have a calculation of drainage and any easement requirements that we believe applies to the request, but
but our engineers aren't sure. We're answering the question that your engineers are asking. And so to get them into a room and as soon as possible is what our goal is to do.
Understandable. So
And
to save some time on this,
Yeah,
I've gone through the first couple of items and either we've gotten no response or the majority of the items we're still waiting on responses. And so even though you feel that you're waiting on us, it's my understanding that our engineers feel like we're waiting on you. And so, which is why we did a written memorandum. So we had everything documented about the request and the ask and the request and the ask. And so I understand you wanting to sit down in a room, but we also prefer the written documentation. So that way we can say, well, we said this, you said this, then we said this, and you said
what
this.
we're hoping to do is not an adversarial thing. I
It
believe
shouldn't be.
Everybody in this room wants the same thing. We
Of
want
course.
to get things built. And, you know, so efficiency and not exchanging emails and back and forth is what the hope was, to put people into a room. So when ISG asks for something, we know exactly what that solution is. And our client has told us and our engineers, whatever ISG wants, we will give you. And so just understanding what they want. And I'm not an engineer.
Neither am I.
I'm here, I'm a transactional attorney, and I'm here to help this transaction get completed.
Sure.
So,
So.
so on the Grant Park side, you have to have received everything on the Grant Park side, right?
You know what? If you want to give me a couple minutes, I'm happy to go through it because I went
That'd be
through
great.
Phillips Crossing and all of them were in.
Because that was the
in
one.
a
that's
state
the
of
most
flux.
question. So I told them, make sure that's done first, but I still could have that, but.
So if you go into immediate actions on the Grant Park, again, I see provide the design calculations and an easement with what's necessary on number one. On number two, it shows that we are still looking for, let's see, a grading was included in. So drainage analysis memo dated. Please provide the managed runoff, provide the downstream analysis, ensure no negative impacts are downstream. So we're still waiting on an item on number two. On number three, we are.
I think we have provided those.
So in any way,
Yeah.
at any rate, there's obviously, you know, you're feeling like you're waiting on us and we're feeling that we're waiting on you.
Yeah.
And so,
So my ask is, as you can see, we are trying, we're doing what you're asking us to do. Please, can you just let a handful of people build? There are 126 total lots between the two things. And there are probably 3 to 5 people that want to get started building here over the next month or so, in the time that it's probably going to take for these engineers to get everything worked out.
so Brian, you do understand that these are things that should have been met a year ago. And
These are things
we've
that
been
we're not
having
asking
erosion
for.
control issues for months. And they're very open and very obvious. And it wasn't until the DANR came and forced your hand to do it. And then we're still waiting on the asks of that, the inspection reports, the approval of the DNR's inspection reports. We're still waiting for that documentation. So I understand your ask and we want to get there as fast as you do, but we also want the resolution. And when we're getting no responses on some of these things, you know, we need to see that and we need to have that plan. And I don't think it's too much to ask for it in writing. If there's questions that need to be asked, ask them in writing. So that way we have that and we can be clear and we have the documentation of the conversation. Now, if that ends up being different, we can certainly have a conversation. P&Z isn't here right now. Frankly, it's in P&Z's lap right now. And we didn't have the meeting because we didn't feel that there was any progress or anything to report, and we didn't have quorum. So we really didn't have a P&Z meeting. And we were trying to get that done because we didn't have the regularly scheduled one because we didn't have pending items at that time either. So we have a regularly scheduled meeting, P&Z in 2 weeks, I believe it is. And if we can get some headway here, I think that's great. I do believe that the engineers have had a back and forth correspondence. I'm not really sure why that stopped. I think it should still be encouraged because that's the easiest way to document what's going on. And if there's questions, ask them.
So in the sense that we're asking for face-to-face meetings, you don't want that to happen?
I didn't say that. I'm not the person making that decision at this moment because there's other people that have to be included in that conversation.
Understand. I guess I just want to be clear on that because I'm here simply to help get this thing done. That's what I've been.
I'm
asked
happy to
do.
put all those people in.
And I'm good. And because I think once we get that in front of them with a direction that we want this done as soon as possible so that still building permits can be issued and people can get things built in their town.
Of course, but please also understand when we have that sit down meeting, it'd
I
be
do.
really nice to have all the things that we need.
Yes, and I understand that you need the people you need, and we will bring the people that you ask us to bring in order to get that done.
And the answers that we need and the reports that we need and the measurements we need and the SWIP forms that we need and the inspection report from the state that we need and the other list of things that are very clearly articulated in this punch list that we need. So if you can gather those things, and if there's gaps in that information that you don't have, then we're happy to answer all those questions. And when you have everything we need, then we're happy to set a date because then it will be a productive conversation. It doesn't make sense for us to sit around the table if you don't have the information that we need.
Feel that we have all the information that we
Perfect.
have listed, and we will move heaven and earth in order to get anything that we don't.
I think that's great. I think that we've more than shown that we'll be available for a productive meeting.
I will see.
We're happy to do that.
Okay, we will get that scheduled as soon as possible.
Anything else I can do for you?
Well, I just still would ask, can we allow some building permits? Well, this is
That's not
going
a
on.
decision that the council can make. That's a P and Z decision because they're the ones that are holding this at this moment.
Yeah, but doesn't the council have oversight on planning and zoning?
P and Z usually makes a recommendation to the council. There's some P and Z here, well, there are, but P and Z doesn't have a forum to meet, so.
All right. I just think it's hurting Baltic and hurting all the citizens.
Well, I also think that because erosion control measures weren't made, it's hurting Baltic and it's hurting Baltic citizens. So it's give and take and getting to the solution. So both of us are working towards the same productive solution for the city.
Yep.
And we look forward to that. Anyone else for public time? Yes, sir.
Michael Goodwin, 412 Johnson.
Hi, Mike.
On behalf of the fire department, just have a question. A couple months ago, or the past couple months, I guess, I'm hearing some rumbling or rumors in the background questioning if we own the land north of the fire station.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
And so I was just curious on what the request was for, and yes, we do own it, so.
I'm very aware that you own the land behind the fire station and you have for quite some time, if I recall.
40 years at least.
Yeah, just a couple, just a
Yeah.
couple. Are you guys aware of any inquiries on that? Yes, sir.
I can't say for certain, but I know that we've had some discussions just around parcels in town, but from the Economic Development Foundation that they're
Oh, that makes sense.
looking into, so I don't know who's specifically been, but I know that,
Sure, no, but I just.
SNGA might have been asking me about it.
A couple years ago, there was a dentist looking.
In case he set anyone's teeth on fire,
Yeah.
you want to be close.
Yeah. Okay, that's all.
By the way, Mike, congratulations on your retirement.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, thank you.
Good job.
And
And thank you for your service to our community.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you, Mike.
You look like somebody that's retired. You're relaxed now, right? He's already 10 years younger. Nice.
Any other items on public time? Yes, sir.
Zach Niven, 413 Kringen. Just wondering, is there any progress, any idea on movement for the paving of Fifth Street? I know that had been.
The last I heard, ISG had some surveyors out there. So that's where I'm at with that, and I don't have any further updates beyond that, but as soon as I have those, we'll make those available. I believe that that's a talking point at the P and Z meeting in 2 weeks. And so as far as I know that they did have staff out there as far as what their.
I've seen
was, I wasn't
flags,
sure.
but I didn't know it. I was just curious, if you're still looking at moving forward with that, or?
I think it's still under evaluation.
Okay.
Yeah, good question though. Anything else? Okay, well, with that, we are going to go into executive session for reasons associated to personnel. And because we've had a history of having very long executive sessions, I will say we don't anticipate it being a long executive session. So I'm going to go ahead and just put this recording on hold. And then we'll be back in just a minute.
Need a motion to go in or you just-
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. We do need a motion to go in.
I'll make a motion.
So it is 7:20. I need a motion to go into executive session. Nikki is going into Nikki made the motion to go into executive session.
I'll second it.
And then Brendan is making a second. All those in favor? Any opposed?
Are you moving or are we?
We're moving. We're gonna let you second.
Thank you.
Okay?
Turn the air back on.
Yeah, turn it back on.
I was wondering, if you open the door or?